Hello, hello, everybody. It's great to be here one more time today. And my name is Gary Fowler. I'm the CEO, president, founder of GSD, Get Shit Done Venture Studios, a premier AI and quantum venture studio located in the heart of Silicon Valley. A 17-time serial entrepreneur with several unicorns under the belt. I was on the original management team at Click Software, which was sold to Salesforce for $1.35 billion, and also Eva.ai, an AI HR tech company that I co-founded with Dr. David Yang. We believe at GSD that intellectual capacity is evenly spread around the world, but opportunities are not. Today, I have an incredible guest from Mettis.ai, all the way from Madrid, Filippo. I'd like to bring Filippo on board. Hi, Filippo. How are you today?
Hi, Gary. Great to be here.
Yeah, good to see you. So tell me, you've led multiple innovative mobility projects. Can you share a little bit about your personal journey and what led you to found Mettis?
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, thanks for this opportunity, Gary. So my journey is a mechanical engineer and passionate about mobility stats in Rome, where I was born, and I started working for legacy car rental companies, and then progressed to in that direction until I met the amazing initial founder team of Cabify. Cabify is one of the first and few to this day unicorn in Europe, and I joined the team very early stage. We're about 30 people. We scaled together to the 1.4 billion valuation. 1,400 people between Europe and Latin America. It was an amazing experience. And since there, I've been passionate about mobility and tech. I've been working for Ford Motor Company, for the mobility branch of Ford Motor Company at Spin, and then uh,
That? How did that work? How was that, Filippo, working with Ford? How was that different than working for a startup?
Yeah, it was different because we were a startup, but we knew at all time that we were backed by Ford, and we had to comply in so many ways with the rules, internal rules and processes of big giants. But obviously, give us a lot of opportunity to do things that otherwise a normal startup would have not been able to do. But unfortunately, it came with a transition phase where the new CEO and current CEO of Ford decided to refocus and get rid of all the Argo AI and mobility tech projects, focus on manufacturing, and then basically the company shifted towards a competitor.
Well, interesting. So you've worked extensively with the Cabify, Super Pedestrian, Spin. How have these experiences really shaped your leadership style and your vision?
Yeah, so I'm I'm a lover of processes and process implementation and building up a process. OKR. There are a few books on my table. One of which is always this one, uh, which is so very valuable. Measure What Matters by John Doerr. And I think that throughout the experience in all this company, I've been sort of using my background in engineering of processes with the inherited need of a startup to be agile and scale it with a strong pace. When we scale, imagine in March 2016 at Cabify, we were still about 100 people, and we received the first large round of funding. Back then was 120 million. We had to scale throughout Latin America, and we moved from 100 employees to 1,200 in 6 months. So it was crazy scaling, crazy pace. A third of that team was my local team in all the different countries we had all over Latin America. So a lot of learning, I would say, in terms of scalability, learning how to manage different culture, learning how to put together. You want to be efficient at all cost, but then at some point you need to realize that in order to scale, you need to do things that are not scalable, and you need to give away a bit of that efficiency in order to allow scalability.
So tell us a little bit more, if we could dive deeper into Mettis and what differentiates you and your company from other mobility platforms that are out there today.
Yeah. First of all, we have a patent. We filed a patent in January of last year, was validated in September, which indicate we don't really have like a direct competitor. We have a multiple angle of competition from different companies. Thing is, we are trying to tackle an angle which is a specific problem in Europe and other parts of the world, not that much in the US. But we, as a go-to market, going after the driving schools and the issues that have the driving schools in Europe with a failure rate of over 60% at the first exam attempt. That is huge, with 10 million drivers or student drivers that have to repeat the test up to 3-4 times in Europe. So that is a huge problem that we are basically trying to solve with the same technology that is used nowadays by, let's say, Tesla for their autonomous vehicles, which is basically computer vision based. So that angle is definitely unique. And then we are also going into ride hailing. That vertical is definitely going to be a lot more interesting for the US markets, where we are already piloting with the Comunidad de Madrid, region of Madrid, a specific license for Uber, Bolt, Cabify drivers that they will have to get in order to get a license to be a driver for this ride hailing company. And that is definitely going to be applicable in terms of certified drivers for the US
Yeah, I
market.
mean, I thought about that for a long time. You get a driver, you don't know who that person is, or can they drive, or you have no idea.
Especially in the US, where Uber, Lyft, they are peer-to-peer companies. So you may have the mom, all the respect, obviously, that is dropping the kids at school and then opening the Uber app, where basically this is a pain point for the big, large cities in the US. They used to have hundreds of thousands of sort of professional drivers, taxi drivers, up to until a few years ago. And now they have uncertified, unprofessional drivers that are going around giving a lot of like professional service, but we know any sort of certification. And that angle, we are going to bring our solution.
Can you talk about a recent success story that you've had, or use case demonstrating how Mettis has made an impact in a city or a community, and what kind of an impact?
Yeah. So as I was saying, we have like a high failure rate all over Europe, about 60%. Specifically in Spain, where we are starting from. I'm Italian, but we are based. The company is based starting from Madrid, from Spain. The failure rate in Spain is 73%. So 73% of the students fail their exam, and they need to repeat up to 3 times in order to get the driving license. There was an influencer a few days ago that publicly said that they had to try to get her driving license over a 3 years period. So it really is a pain point. So we started working with the largest driving schools in Spain and piloting with them. And in this early phase of traction and testing phase, we saw that success rate moved from about 27% to almost 50%. And there was obviously a huge impact. Imagine drivers that are safer, drivers that are more successful when they go to the driving test, but ultimately safer drivers.
So what, you did a program at Harvard. What did you learn and that helped you in terms of helping to scale Mettis? What it's just interesting for me. People take the executive education, they'll take Coursera. Well, what specifically did it help you or not? Was it interesting or not?
Definitely helped. Besides the network, obviously, Cabify helped us to reach out to their program. It was a big boost we got in that sense. Once again, from the co-founders of Cabify, to whom I am forever in debt. But we had people studying with us, such as Vinny Lingham. Vinny Lingham used, before coming to the program where I was at Harvard, he was already a successful entrepreneur. He was already Shark Tank, one of the sharks in Shark Tank South Africa. So we had an impressive portfolio of students which were already very experienced entrepreneurs, and gave us a lot of insights in terms of scaling, in terms of technology, sourcing engineers, and so on. I mean, this is a bit of a recurrent topic: how to source engineer, where to source engineer, and more now with AI. We are in Europe still a bit behind the US, but not in terms of technology, more than anything in terms of the society and the administration, public administration, European community, and so on, to support project like ours. So we are a bit left a bit more alone in Europe than as if we were based in China or in the US.
You know, I remember when I founded a company, I actually started in the UK, and I thought it would be a bit easier to do it because I was told, oh, there aren't enough startups and there's lots of investors on the sideline, et cetera. But it was really hard. And I went through many. First of all, the valuations are a lot less. And then the second was they take a lot of time, and they don't understand the Silicon Valley mentality. And there's something to be said about Silicon Valley. You know, I spent a lot of time out there, a lot. You know, I founded 17 companies and a couple unicorns. And being out there, you understand that there's energy, right? There, you can feel the energy. And a lot of places in the world have limited amounts of it. The thing that we have in Silicon Valley is we've got Stanford University, and we've got that hub, and then we've got all the surrounding support systems. So, for instance, when I started that company in the UK, I couldn't raise any money, and I came back to the US, and we raised $6 million in a very short period of time. Now, I couldn't raise it, and the whole time I was over there, the 4 months, I couldn't even get a bite. I came over to the US, and within 2 months, we closed around. So the possibilities are, I know with my company, Eva, right, Findo, we raised $7 million in 3 months. Now, it didn't hurt that I had one of the most successful AI entrepreneurs as my CTO and co-founder. But that's a Silicon Valley. You walk down the street, you know, you go to Starbucks, you see Tim Cook. You walk down the street, you see Zuckerberg. It's just normal. Some people forget.
Yeah, I totally agree, and it's not only about the background of people that you are more used to meet and speak with. I think that we have an impressive team, and I'm speaking for myself. Obviously, I have a large experience in mobility with startups, corporate, whatever. We also have one of the co-founder, our CTO, Alvaro Saez, is an impressive guy. He even got a prize at the CES of Las Vegas on innovation on AI. So brilliant people. We are, and I'm not speaking, I'm trying to be humble for myself, but the rest of the team is an impressive team. And the gut feeling so far is that obviously if we would have been based in the US, the round would have been much easier. The valuation would have been much higher, with exactly same talent and exactly same.
Yeah, that's the problem, you know, and it doesn't make any sense. You know, I talk about this a lot all over the world, and I said, you know, it's like having a Ferrari in the garage, and the situation is you got to know where the racetrack is, but you got to understand your Ferrari. Look under the hood, look at the engine and transmission. 2 is you got to take it out of the garage so people know it exists. And 3 is you got to win the race. You need the right team, you need the right driver, the right sponsor, the right pit crew, and the right aerodynamics. And if you have all those, and by the way, somebody that's done it a few times, they can tell you where the turn's bad, when to speed it up, when to slow it down, what's great, what's not great, what that other driver's like. Those things are critically important, right? Operational expertise, access to capital, networking contacts. Those 3 in a resilient team, any company can become a unicorn. You know, in the office where I started Findo, Eva, Luminar's in my office, Otter AI was in my office, Maria DB was in the office, Musically, Tech Talk was in the office. We're all in there at the same time, right? And and it was a co-working space, but top level co-working space. But we were all there sharing ideas all the time.
Yeah.
In fact, now you look at it, so it was unbelievable, right? And this is only a few years ago. So being in the middle of it, you can do things that are extraordinary, right? And you can be 6 months to a year ahead of the competition.
Yeah, you are breaking open door with me. I don't know if it is like the right way to say, but I totally agree with you in the sense that you need to have like a background and a environment where startups and new ideas and brilliant idea can thrive and can at least go out there and try. In the past 2 years, I would say the VC environment in Europe got even less prone to taking any sort of risk.
Oh, I know. I hear it's crazy, Filippo. There's so many brilliant people
At level, Gary, that you would not believe. You have funds that are specifically focusing on pre-seed, seeds, early phase, and then when you speak with them, the first thing they say, "How many months do you have of MRR?" So if I'm at that phase, I don't need you.
Yeah, exactly. That's a ticket.
No,
So
you
even
need
my
to be.
company,
And the other sense, they say, if you are not there, we are not there for you because we are not taking the risk. So there is this lack of risk-taking mentality and betting on something bigger, which is really sad because obviously we are missing out opportunity. And that is the fact. I mean, we are right now, we are in the middle of the round. We are closing the round, as a matter of fact. But we are already thinking next step is going to be to set up a C Corp in Delaware, and next round is going to be in the US. Because as you said, and statistics are absolutely everywhere. In whichever stage we are, early stage, Series A, whatever, we are about 80% less in terms of capital raised on average, Europe versus
exactly.
US.
And it makes no sense because you got some of the brightest people in the world. So, that's one of the reasons, by the way, Filippo, I founded GSD, Get Shit Done Venture Studios, because I said, I've been doing this for 39 years in Silicon Valley, 17 startups, 2 unicorns, right? I was on the original management team at Click Software, sold to Salesforce for 1.35 billion. Eva, I started the first e-commerce consulting company back when they said Amazon was just for books, right? I said, you're wrong. This is 1998, 1997. So this changes it, but Silicon Valley is the heart. It's where it happens. It's crazy. If you went fishing, somebody said, hey, Filippo, come to the lake. And you talk to somebody else and said, there's no fish in that lake. There's salt water, but there's no fish. They're dead. And somebody else said, hey, come to this lake. There's fish. Where would you go fishing? It's crazy.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so sad because I mean, it's on the press everywhere every day that the US, China are betting, especially on fields like AI, where we are moving with our company. And then you see the big declaration from the president of the European Commission, from von der Leyen, saying they will do a 600 billion investment on AI. Nothing comes to real startups in terms of support. Nothing
No.
of. So it's just tons of bureaucracy, very little believing in ideas. This is the biggest part that I found in terms of difference of mentality. In the US, we even spoke, I mean, we spoke with different companies also to do a makeup of the deck presentation and wherever. You speak with a company in the US, they immediately click, they get the problem, they see the vision, and so on. In Europe, is always, but why? But why? Do you really want to do that? It's like they're trying to.
Yeah, they're trying to convince you not to do it. I agree.
Exactly. It's incredible.
So one of my companies so I have a lot of European companies. We have 182 companies in GSD, just FYI, right? And many, many European companies. So Poland, Denmark, Slovenia, Slovakia, Spain, Portugal, just all over. But one thing, they all say the same thing. It's crazy. And by the way, it's not just Europe. I hear it in Latin America. I hear it over in Asia. The problem is, on the other side of it, there's a lot of people in some of those places, they are mechanical engineers and they don't understand marketing, right? How to turn this into a marketing machine, create emotions with words, things that are critically important, right? And when we formed Click Software, so I was on the original management team at Click Software, sold to Salesforce for 1.35 billion, right? Changed the name of the company from Intelligent Electronics to Click Software, came up with a family of products. All of a sudden, people were saying, I've heard of that company. They couldn't. We made it up. It was on my mouse and it clicked. And I had a box of PowerPoint. It said software. I said, oh, Click Software, right? And all of a sudden, you got to have some marketing pizzazz. You got to create emotions. And if you can't do that, it doesn't work. It just doesn't. Listen, I formed the first generative AI company, Pre-Transformer Models, in 2016, right? It was one of the first. David Yang was my partner in that thing. They told me this isn't going to happen for 25 years. I was standing in San Francisco, and then people got it. They understood the vision. I was talking about infobesity. Now you hear everybody talking about infobesity, but look at where the word came from. The word originally was in Alvin Toffler's Future Shock. I started to talk about it in 2016, right? I said, the problem is too much data. It doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter. It's mobility. Doesn't matter in your own personal cloud. It's data. And if we can't figure this out and do it, nothing good's going to happen, because there's going to be so much data that people are going to get overwhelmed. We need to have tools like your grandmother that love you and care about you that help you sift through this data. It's critically important. And it's happening now. And so what you're doing is, it's magic, but you got to take the magic. It's like, if you have a Ferrari in the garage, Filippo, it's your Ferrari and nobody knows about it. Get the Ferrari out of the garage, win Formula One. That's it. I've done it. We went from starting the company, right, and the original team to an IPO on NASDAQ. People said it wasn't going to happen. It happened. You can do anything, right? But put yourself in a certain, it's like going out to buy a Ferrari and you're going over to a Kia dealership and you're standing around there. I just want that Ferrari. I want the special Konigsberg Ferrari, and nobody's around, right? Put yourself in a situation, go to a Ferrari dealer. If that's what you want, you got to go for where you want. It's nuts.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a blend of basically everything that you said, and resonates everything with me. On one side, obviously, I'm bashing a lot on Europe, but more than anything on the investment landscape rather than on the talent. We have
talent there. You guys have. Listen, the talent.
To be humble about myself, but our CTO is the guy is impressive. I discovered just a few days ago that he's also an opera singer. I mean, the guy is amazing. He's a genius, and even got this prize at the CES of Las Vegas. So we have talent. There is a lot of potential in Europe, and a lot of this comes down to marketing, as you said, how to sell, how to create that story. That is also a part that I went through and understood and learned about when I was at Carify. I had to create a marketing team within my own team, which was something new for me. Made me grow and discover a lot of things in that area. But obviously, you need to have that story that brings all the technology, all the people together, all the funding, the investors. They need to buy the passion, as you said. They need to buy the vision. They need to buy the idea.
You need to make it enchanting, Filippo. My friend Guy Kawasaki said it's enchantment. If you can make it enchanting so people can feel the words inside their soul, so it resonates and vibrates in their soul, they can feel it. They sweat, they feel so good because it makes them feel warm and fuzzy and all the good things. That's when you hit it. And most people never get it, right? The one thing I like, in fact, I'll be in Palo Alto on Wednesday at a competition judging it. One thing I love about it is, man, it's out there and you can feel that energy, electricity in the air. That electricity is really important. And it's hard to get it. Listen, there's a lot of talent. And I was there. I was at the South Summit. I was in Gdansk, Poland, speaking recently. The Czech Republic with Wozniak. So he and I were on stage together there. There's incredible talent, but it's like having a Ferrari in your garage. If you don't get it out, you're just one of many. And here's the other thing for all of you out there. The market's changing very quickly. So you may have something interesting today, but another 6 months, it may be passé. you better get it out and start trying to win the race now. Don't wait.
Absolutely. I mean, there is so much I can add to these, but obviously follow all that you said. The infobesity is embedded on my mind at all time, and is also one of the reasons why we are building the data that we extract from all the computer vision of all the driving school cars that are going around. That is skimmed sort of to the minimum to avoid infobesity, but also to maintain all the information that is valuable and we know that we can use in a valuable way, also to train. We are doing a pilot to create data from human drivers to create patterns for predictability for autonomous cars. So instead of reacting to human drivers, they can predict human driving behavior. Which is super interesting, and everything is coming down from to data, obviously, as you said. I'm super resonating. I'm resonating a lot with what you're saying, and it's also the reason why we are working into that direction. Go to market is quite straightforward. We are going to go for driving schools here in Spain, France, Italy, Germany, and the UK. Fairly soon, we already have a lot of contacts in these countries with customers pipeline and so on, contacts with the local authorities, etc. But then next step, probably 6 months from now, we will have a considerable traction, is going to be to start setting up the entity in the US and thinking about the next round and making things in a big way.
That's fantastic. Lynn, we're coming to the top of the show. It's great talking to you today. So closing thoughts and how do people get a hold of you? And then if you want to stay on after the show, we can talk a little bit.
So yeah, Mettis.ai is our website. Obviously can reach out to LinkedIn. You mentioned the South Summit. I was there. A pity that we missed each other. I was in a panel there as well. Just last week, I was at the Le Train, which is a French tech event where you startup are pitching in the train at 300 kilometers per hour, so 200 miles an hour. And there was a pool of Spanish and French investors and pool of Spanish and French startup. And we won the first prize just on Thursday last week. So it's very recent. So reach out in any way you want, via website, via X, via our LinkedIn page, my own personal LinkedIn page, however you want. But obviously, if you are thinking about all the potential of computer vision, machine learning, and artificial intelligence to make driving certification 100% objective, which is our motto, what we are going for, then please reach out. And we are trying to build something really big this time.
That sounds great. Well, Filippo, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today. And thanks to all my audience for joining one more time. GSD presents Silicon Valley AI and Tech. Thanks to all of you. We're at 1,150,000 views with over 1,300 podcasts out there. So thanks to all of you. Check out gsdvs.com. I've written about 600 articles and 8 books. So we're on top of it, and we love Silicon Valley. I've been doing it for 39 years, building unicorns. Build them faster, win the race, and get out there. Each of you can do it. Stay happy, stay safe, and stay healthy. And I'll be back again soon with another exciting edition. Thanks, Filippo, and thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Gary. Thanks, everyone.
There we got some good comments there. Very interesting.
Nice.
So now it's great to have you. So Filippo, so what happened? I've been doing this for 39 years in the Valley, building unicorns, and taking companies from $0 to $1 billion exits. So I started the first generative AI company. People said, nobody's going to do this. Why would people care about generative AI? I built a pre-transformer models in 2016, 3 years before OpenAI. You can see it in TechCrunch. So if you look at Findo, you see my billionaire partner, David Yang, and you also see my, hold on a second.